Chapter 1521. After killing Qin Mutian, Ning Qing didn't even have time to collect Qin Mutian's spoils of war. Instead, he took a step towards Yan Ji and picked her up. Yan Ji's life force had already dissipated, and her life essence and soul had long since dissipated. Ning Qing's heart was filled with grief. Yan Ji had already stepped into the third step and condensed her own world. Once her life essence and soul dissipated, it would be equivalent to her own world shattering. At that time, he could no longer save her like he saved Sun Hanrui. Even if Yan Ji reincarnated, she would no longer have any memories of her past life. Ning Qing's hand fell on Yan Ji's chest. The killing aura that had penetrated Yan Ji's chest had yet to dissipate. Ning Qing's gaze immediately locked onto the person who made the move. It was Palace Master Limitless. When he first saw Palace Master Limitless, Ning Qing had a good impression of her. But this woman killed Yan Ji. How could he not kill her? Master, second mistress, is trapped by a few monks. Although Chasing Bull was a big talker and was lazy and playful, it also regretted not focusing on cultivation earlier under such a crazy fight and slaughter. As a result, it couldn't help much now. Even without Chasing Bull's reminder, Ning Qing had already noticed the others after Yan Ji's death. Not only Luo Fei, but even Rulin and the others also fell into a predicament. Ning Qing's gaze then saw Palace Master Limitless and Xing Shi fighting. But he didn't immediately go to find Palace Master Limitless. Instead, he took out his Good Fortune Divine Spear and rushed towards Ji Luofei and the others. Yan Ji's death had already caused him great grief. If Luofei and the others also died, what would it matter even if they managed to snatch the Gate of Good Fortune? At this moment, Ning Qing's thoughts weren't on the Gate of Good Fortune. He wanted to kill, and no one could stop the killing intent in his heart. Brother, that monk killed Sister Manha. Seeing Ning Qing coming over, Ning Rulin spoke up weakly with tears in her eyes. Her cultivation was low, and if it weren't for Chu Manha and the others protecting her, she would have already died. Ning Qing screamed, regretting that he had forgotten about the people around him to fight for the Gate of Good Fortune. At this moment, his Good Fortune Divine Spear transformed into endless spear waves, tearing through layer after layer of the void and sweeping away all the power attacking Jilu, Ning Rulin and the others. At this moment, the 7 bridges appeared out of thin air. The 3 bridges of helplessness, hometown gazing, and river of forgetfulness were connected. The netherworld, rebirth, and nirvana bridge were filled with boundless killing. The reincarnation bridge was like the reincarnation disc that carried time, grinding away all the lives that stood in its way under the first 6 bridges. Ning Qing no longer had any thoughts of holding back. The 7 bridges shot out at the same time, and together with the majestic and boundless spear waves, harvested the lives around them. In the distance, when Sage Buddha Chu Pu saw the power of Ning Qing's 7 bridges, his eyes narrowed. This time, he brought with him almost all the powerhouses of the Western cosmos. But under Ning Qing's spear wave and 7 bridges, these powerhouses' lives were like harvested wheat. He took in a deep breath. Not only did he not turn around to stop Ning Qing, but he also sped up and rushed towards the Gate of Good Fortune. Boom! A twisted purple saber beam cut off Sage Buddha Chu Pu's path. Sage Buddha Chu Pu thought that his eyes were playing tricks on him. There was actually someone who could sever the path of space with a single slash? But a moment later, he realized that not only was he not wrong, but he was also blocked by someone. If he hadn't seen Ning Qing using the 7 bridges and spear waves to harvest the lives of those powerhouses, he would have thought that the person in front of him was Ning Qing. The person in front of him was also a young man. He wore a green robe and had long hair. His bright eyes were as calm as the calm waters of a lake. A purple long saber was placed horizontally in front of him, and Dao runes surged around him. It gave Sage Buddha Chu Pu the feeling that this young man had been standing here since ancient times. A majestic and boundless oppressive aura emerged. Sage Buddha Chu Pu took in a deep breath, and the Buddha beads hanging in his hand continuously emitted bursts of Sanskrit chants. It was as if he was ready to destroy the entire world at any time. Why are you blocking my way? Everyone can fight for the Gate of Good Fortune. Once we reach the Gate of Good Fortune, we can rely on our own abilities. Sage Buddha Chu Pu didn't make a move. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but he could feel the oppressive aura from this young man in green. He didn't feel this way even when he faced Sacred Lord Five Elements back then. Those monks you brought are too despicable. Although I killed them, I'm still going to get revenge for my people. Remember, the person who sent you back to your home is called Yemo. This green-robed youth was Yemo. At this moment, his killing intent and fury were no less than Ning Cheng's. He had temporarily lost his heart due to the fight for the Gate of Good Fortune. In this short time, his most beloved daughter, Yemo, was killed. The powerhouses of the Western universe relied on their superior strength to besiege the people of the sacred Tao sect. Not only was Yemo killed, but even the heaven beyond heaven Lord Feng Huangmei who wanted to save Yemo was also killed. Even though Yemo killed all those who besieged the divine Tao sect, he couldn't calm the sadness and anger in his heart. How could he be satisfied if he didn't kill Sage Buddha Chu Pu? As soon as he said this, a heaven-devouring and earth-splitting twisted sword rune hacked down. There was no fancy divine ability, no complicated hand gestures, only a simple slash. Sage Buddha Chu Pu sneered and the bead in his hand turned into a circle. This circle was formed by countless small universe worlds. Each universe world was surrounded by powerful Buddhist Tao waves. These universes were connected and formed the strongest barrier in the vast void. Surging Buddhist charms and deep Sanskrit chants surrounded this area. At this moment, as long as the cultivators were swept by the Sanskrit chants and Buddhist charms, they would feel enlightened by the Buddhist charms. They could not wait to immediately sit on the ground and comprehend the supreme Tao charms. As long as one could feel this supreme Tao wave in front of the Gate of Good Fortune, one would immediately become a Buddha and achieve great fortune. Yemo was calm. The Tao waves and Sanskrit chants were like a breeze outside his realm barrier, leaving nothing behind. Rumble! Before the purple sword hacked on the bead, the violent Tao wave clashed. Laws exploded, space collapsed, and everything fell into the primal chaos. Sage Buddha Chu Pu's face changed. He had long heard of Yemo and Ning Cheng. He had seen Ning Cheng's means but he didn't take it seriously. Before, Ning Cheng was a level weaker than him. To him, Yemo who was on the same level as Ning Cheng was good, but after he learned flower-grasping Tao and his power rose a lot, Yemo would at most be a small obstacle for him. But now, he sensed the chi of death. This strike was clearly just a purple shadow, but it seemed to cover the entire space in front of the Gate of Good Fortune. There was clearly no God art means, but it bound all his Buddhist wave God art. Crack! It wasn't just the space that cracked open, but the Buddhist sect world was also cracked. Chu Pu Divine Buddha felt great sorrow. One of his Buddhist beads was hacked open by the purple sword. Every single one of his Buddhist beads had been accumulated over countless years, tempered by endless Buddhist charms, and experienced endless nirvana. But now, one of them was easily split by a saber, and a crack appeared on his complete Buddhist bead world. Tao is simple. Chu Pu Divine Buddha didn't keep attacking Yemo. He looked at the purple sword in front of Yemo in shock and murmured. He felt the flowerless Tao from Ning Cheng and the Tao is simple from Yemo. One had to admit that he was an extreme prodigy. Very few people could compare with him in Tao learning. It was because of this that he could create the Western universe. However, Yemo wasn't going to give him another 100 years to go into solitary cultivation again. The sword was still that ordinary purple long sword, and the person was still that blue-robed man. But now Chu Pu felt threatened. Suddenly, a strange feeling arose in his heart. Why was it that geniuses kept appearing in the five-element cosmos, but only the Western Sacred Master appeared in his Western cosmos? Even the Western Divine Lord was killed because he fought for Tao heritage with him. Yemo couldn't be bothered talking. Zisu sliced out another purple ray and enveloped Chu Pu Divine Buddha. He wasn't going to stop until he killed Chu Pu. Chu Pu sneered. So what if it was simple Tao? He had roamed the vast universe for countless years. What powerful beings hadn't he seen? Even so, didn't he still create the Western universe? If he wanted to kill Chu Pu Divine Buddha, even simple Tao wasn't enough. A Buddhist staff appeared in Chu Pu's hand. The staff swept up thousands of Buddhist waves and the rest of the Buddhist beads, turning into a cosmic wave that charged at that purple ray. Five-element Divine Lord was also very shocked seeing Yimo's attack. When he saw Ning Cheng's spear wave and 7 bridges, he had made up his mind that he would kill Ning Cheng no matter if he could be the first to go into the Gate of Fortune. If he didn't kill Ning Cheng, he would become a threat to him. Seeing Yi Mo and Chu Pu fight, Five-element Divine Lord was even more shocked. Ning Cheng was already this powerful, how did Yi Mo come out? The 5-element fortune treasure was something he couldn't be bothered to fight for before. He fought for the world wood and the 5-element fortune treasure came from his chaos world. It was because of this that the 5-element universe's 5 great divine lords were created. But in his eyes, those 5 holy lords were truly not enough. But now, abstruse yellow bead and golden page world were taken by Ning Cheng and Yi Mo again. Why were these two so powerful? No, if he let such a powerful competitor into the gate, his countless years of hiding might be gone. Thinking about this, 5-element Divine Lord, who wanted to ambush Ning Cheng, couldn't care about Ning Cheng anymore. He charged towards the gate like crazy. No one stopped him. If he didn't fight now, when would he? "Ha, Duomo, why are you in such a rush?" A sudden voice sounded in the air. Then, dozens of red lights surged toward the 5-element sacred lord like a river. "Tu Xiu, you're not dead?" 5-element Divine Lord was shocked and furious. At this moment he knew all too well who it was. It was Styx River Heavenly Venerable Tu Xiu. The red ray's voice sounded calmly, "Duomo, if you don't die, how can I bear to die after receiving such a huge gift from you?" Chapter 1522. Dang! A bell sound that seemed to come from the 9 heavens made the chaotic battle pause momentarily. It was as though the morning bell struck the deepest part of everyone's heart, making people have to stop. At this moment, everyone saw the changes in the Gate of Fortune. The gate stopped closing. There was only a gap that could only allow one person to pass through. In the depth of the gap, golden light spread out. This world Dao Qi that surpassed everyone's understanding seeped out. At the edge of the golden light, there was a golden line. If one crossed the golden line, it meant that they could enter the Gate of Fortune. In just an instant, everyone came to their senses. No one was willing to continue fighting with others here. Even if they had to take the risk of being killed, they had to rush over and give it a try. If they couldn't be the first, they would be the second. Even the 200th was good. As long as they could go in, it was better than those who couldn't. Yi Mo, there's still one sliver of chance for the Gate of Fortune. What's the point of fighting me with your life? If you can enter the Gate of Destinies, anything can happen. What's the big deal about reincarnation? Sage Buddha Chu Pu was in a sorry state. The Sage Buddha crown on his head had already disappeared. The crown on his head was long gone and there were only a few beads hanging in his hand. Those few beads were cracked. As for his Buddhist wave chi, it was very chaotic. Yi Mo who stopped him grew calmer and calmer. Ever since Chu Pu Divine Buddha came out, he had fought all sorts of opponents but never had a battle as difficult as today. He was certain that Yi Mo's power was far greater than 5-element Divine Lord. If he still couldn't break free from Yi Mo, he would lose the chance to fight for the Gate of Fortune. Yi Mo was calm. He didn't know if Chu Pu Divine Buddha's words were true or false. Regardless, after he dealt with Chu Pu Divine Buddha, he would still have the chance to step into the Gate of Fortune. If he didn't kill Chu Pu, he wouldn't be able to calm down. The purple long sword sliced open the void and loomed over Chu Pu Divine Buddha, who was already at a disadvantage. Rumble! 2 balls of terrifying Taoist rhymes exploded like 2 planets exploding one after another. The violent laws exploded and a line of blood spurted out from the exploding laws. Chu Pu's already scattered Buddhist wave chi was even more scattered now. Yi Mo didn't rejoice at all. His face was bleak. From the time he fought with Chu Pu till now, he was well aware of the strength of this Western Saint Buddha. There were countless prayer beads in the hands of Sage Buddha Chu Pu, and each of them was a world. Normally, third-step experts would condense their own world, but Chu Pu's world seemed endless. Even if there were endless worlds, they were all smashed by Yi Mo. Chu Pu used the last few Buddhist beads to explode the world, breaking free from the restraints of his Tao rhythm and dashing towards the gate of creation. For this, Chu Pu had to pay a huge price. Clearly, Saint Buddha Chu Pu's desire to seize the gate of destinies was very strong. Yi Mo swept the purple sword rays around him and disappeared with Chu Pu. Not only was he going to kill Chu Pu, he wasn't going to let anyone get the gate before him. Regardless of whether Chu Pu's words were true or false, he would still try. Sage Buddha Chu Pu had just arrived at the gate of creation when he felt the obstruction of the vast great Tao of creation. This obstacle was right in front of the golden line not far away from him. It was as though every time he wanted to reach a higher level, his cultivation level was obstructed. Before Chu Pu could break open this obstacle, a fist smashed over. Chu Pu, you're a Western monk, how dare you come to my 5-element universe to fight for the gate of creation? Watch my fist, 5-element divine lord? Chu Pu said hatefully. He saw 5-element divine lord Du Mo and Styx River fight to the death before, but now, 5-element divine lord stood in front of him. If it was before, Chu Pu definitely wouldn't be afraid of 5-element divine lord Du Mo. But now, his Buddhist bead world was almost hacked clean by Yi Mo and he was heavily injured. He really didn't want to fight Du Mo with his life. Chu Pu sighed. After feeling Wu's great Tao, he thought he was the strongest in the vast universe. Now that he was fighting for the gate of creation, he knew he was far from being the strongest. He didn't want to fight Du Mo with his life, but he could only do so. It wasn't up to him to decide whether to fight with his life or not. As soon as Chu Pu's huge staff clashed with Du Mo's fist god art, it suddenly changed its trajectory and smashed behind Du Mo. He didn't even care that Du Mo's fist was about to crush his body. Du Mo didn't smash Chu Pu's body. He chose the same movement as Chu Pu and attacked the same direction. Celestial Monarch Styx River, Xiu Tu, was stopped. Before the three of them could fight, they attacked Yi Mo, who had just arrived. Moments later, Chaos Tao Lord, Power Tao Lord, Karma Tao Lord, tens of powerful beings arrived. An even more chaotic battle unfolded. At this moment, no one knew who their opponent was. However, everyone knew that whoever dared to take the first step into the gate of fortune's golden lines would become their common enemy. Everyone here wanted to charge through the golden line of fortune and step into the gate of fortune. Similarly, no one here dared to be the first to cross the golden line. Even someone as powerful as 5-element divine lord didn't dare to cross the golden line. All sorts of god art attacks and magic artifact Tao light intertwined in this narrow space. Most people chose to protect themselves. But since they stepped into this circle, no matter how they tried to protect themselves, everyone around them was an enemy. If possible, no one would give up on killing a powerful competitor. Even Yi Mo didn't dare to cross space to kill Chu Pu. Any movement here would cause everyone to gang up on him. Even if they didn't fight, with so many powerful beings squeezing together, it was hard to avoid the Tao wave explosions. No matter how many years you cultivated here, you wouldn't be able to be calm like water. You could retreat, but if you did, you would lose your chance. As long as you stayed in this circle, you would have the chance to cross the golden line and charge into the gate of creation. No one retreated. Not only that, more and more people squeezed into the circle. Husband, you don't have to worry about us. Seeing more and more people gathering in front of the gate of good fortune and the Tao charm of good fortune in the distance, Ji Luofei spoke up with some anxiety. She couldn't help but feel anxious. Ning Cheng had the best chance to step into the gate of creation. Once the gate of creation fell into someone else's hands, what was the use of Ning Cheng saving them now? Ning Cheng clearly understood this truth. He sent Yan Ji into his own world and used the creation divine spear to sweep up billions of spear waves towards Palace Master Limitless. If he didn't kill this woman, he wouldn't be able to calm down. If the gate of creation wasn't clearly visible, making it the best time to fight for it, Palace Master Limitless would have already killed Xing Shi. Because the gate of creation was clearly visible and everyone was fighting for it, Palace Master Limitless gave up the opportunity to kill Xing Shi and rushed towards the gate of creation. She had just taken a step when she was stopped by the endless spear waves. The violent spear waves seemed to want to tear her into pieces, filled with endless grief and killing intent. Kid, don't think that you can fight with this palace just because you comprehended the 7 bridges. Get lost. Palace Master Limitless didn't expect Ningcheng to dare to stop her. She kicked out in anger. The chaotic universe had experienced countless years. Only a handful of people dared to kick Ningcheng's billions of spear waves directly like Palace Master Limitless. Palace Master Limitless was definitely one of them. Bang! A dull sound tore through the void, and the laws collapsed once again. Ningcheng's billions of spear waves were actually scattered by Palace Master Limitless kick. The killing intent in the spear waves seemed to have been sifted through by a sieve and eased up. Ningcheng's entire body trembled and immediately stopped. He was horrified by the power of Palace Master Limitless. Among all the women he had met, Xing was the most powerful. Compared to Palace Master Limitless, Xing was still a bit weaker. Ningcheng didn't feel any fear. His endless spear waves were only to stop Palace Master Limitless. Palace Master Limitless had only kicked away his spear waves with a single kick. His goal had been achieved. I'm going to tear you apart. A sharp cry that almost tore through the entire universe shook Ningcheng's eardrums. Then he saw Palace Master Limitless bring out a fiery red round mirror. Ningcheng remained calm. He knew very well why Palace Master Limitless was so angry. Palace Master Limitless' kick had indeed scattered his billions of spear waves. However, the scattered spear waves had also shredded Palace Master Limitless' dress. Half of Palace Master Limitless' dress had been completely shredded by Ningcheng's spear waves. From her ankles to her thighs, it was completely white. Although Palace Master Limitless could restore her dress with just a thought, this kind of humiliation made it hard for her to calm down without killing Ningcheng. All women in the world were the same. Whether they were strong or weak, they would scream when their clothes were stripped off. Chapter 1523. The fiery mirror that Palace Master Limitless brought out looked like a red sun. But unlike a red sun, the light emitted by the mirror directly melted the void. However, one couldn't feel the slightest bit of heat. At this moment, Palace Master Limitless' delicate face twisted a little. She had never used her full strength to deal with a person. Under her Nirvana extinguishing mirror, not to mention living beings, even the laws of the void would be melted. Any time or space was a joke under the Nirvana extinguishing mirror. Ningcheng was in the middle of the Nirvana extinguishing mirror, and the endless aura of nirvanic corrosion came over. At this moment, Ningcheng felt that his body and even his soul would melt under the mirror's light. Even his Dao Charm aura and his body-protecting domain started to collapse. Ningcheng felt horrified. He didn't value weapons as much as his cultivation. In his opinion, no matter how good a weapon was, it was illusory in front of powerful strength. But the mirror that Palace Master Limitless brought out had subverted his view. This mirror seemed to be an unsolvable existence. Ningcheng felt like he was trapped in Taishang Laojuan's furnace. The endless terrifying heat tore him apart and melted him, but he couldn't feel any heat at all. This mirror was too strange. Ningcheng could feel his body-protecting domain melting. Ningcheng didn't hesitate to gather the 7 bridges. With the protection of the 7 bridges, the melting speed of the Dao Charm laws around him slowed down, but it still continued to melt. He brought out the Good Fortune Divine Spear, but before the Dao Charm laws could condense, it dissipated under the mirror. Without the Dao Charm laws surrounding it, even if his spear struck Palace Master Limitless, it would be no different from scratching an itch. Gotcha! The first bridge of coping shattered, and Ningcheng's body-protecting domain also cracked open. Ningcheng clenched his fists and felt powerless for the first time. He could feel the horror of melting the void under the mirror, but he couldn't grasp anything. It was as if he was in a dream. No matter how the opponent suppressed him, he couldn't resist. Violent heat seeped out of Ningcheng's sea of consciousness and the depths of his meridians, but Ningcheng felt powerless. Because he couldn't see where this heat came from, he couldn't even feel the temperature changes on his body surface. The Nirvana extinguishing mirror might not be a creation treasure, but it was definitely not inferior to any creation treasure. When Palatial Lord Limitless brought out the Nirvana extinguishing mirror, even the powerhouses fighting for the Gate of Fortune subconsciously strengthened the protective boundaries around them. Sacred Buddha Chu Pu, Sacred Lord Five Elements, Heavenly Venerate Styx River, and other experts who knew about the nirvana extinguishing realm revealed wary expressions and subconsciously shifted their positions. Under the cover of the nirvana extinguishing mirror, Ning Cheng's eyes finally revealed a trace of ruthlessness. He was being burned from the inside out by a temperature that he couldn't even grasp, but he had no way to stop it. He swallowed an ice-attributed pill, but it only brought him a slight coolness before returning to his original state. "Brother Ning, let me help you." Kong Zai also saw Ning Cheng in a bad situation from afar and immediately rushed over. "Don't come over," Ning Cheng shouted out. However, Kong Zai's speed was just too fast. He had just approached the scope of the nirvana extinguishing mirror when his whole body was nailed to the ground. Ning Cheng could still move under the cover of the nirvana extinguishing mirror, but Kong Zai couldn't move at all. At that moment, Kong Zai didn't seem to have suffered any injuries or any temperature fluctuations. However, his protective boundary was shattering crazily. His face was twisting and changing crazily, as if there was a terrifying flame burning in his body. "Palatial Lord Limitless!" Ning Cheng screamed. If he could, he would have torn this woman apart. Kong Zai had cultivated in the Tao abyss in the mountain gaze for a period of time, and his strength had soared. Otherwise, he would have turned into nothingness along with the laws of the void. "Brother Ning, I can't stop it anymore. If I can reincarnate, we will meet again in the next reincarnation." Kong Zai wanted to smile, but the smile that appeared was extremely hideous and terrifying. Palatial Lord Limitless said coldly, "You want to reincarnate under my nirvana extinguishing mirror?" Ning Cheng raised his hand and wanted to grab another ice-attributed pill from the mysterious yellow bead and throw it to Kong Zai. However, his consciousness suddenly scanned the immeasurable gourd. A light bulb lit up in Ning Cheng's mind. At that moment, he grabbed the immeasurable gourd without any hesitation. Immediately, Ning Cheng took out an ice flower from the immeasurable gourd. Just by holding the ice flower in Ning Cheng's hand, the terrifying nirvana extinguishing temperature disappeared without a trace. An extremely cool aura emerged, and the next moment, the Tao runes and laws around Ning Cheng condensed again. Ning Cheng didn't have time to think about anything else. He raised his hand and waved at Kong Zai. Kong Zai, who had been bound by the nirvana extinguishing mirror and was on the verge of collapse, suddenly felt all the nirvana extinguishing aura disappear. Ning Cheng then swept over a cool Tao rune. Kong Zai returned to normal in a very short time, and the destruction brought by the nirvana extinguishing mirror also disappeared. A vast imperial aura rose from Kong Zai's body, and Kong Zai's strength rose again in an instant. Ning Cheng was ecstatic. He didn't expect that the ice flower he had accidentally obtained back then would turn out to be such a heaven-defying Dharma treasure. It seemed to restrain the invisible nirvana extinguishing temperature of the nirvana extinguishing mirror. Ning Cheng didn't care about Kong Zai's rising strength. The creation divine spear in his hand condensed endless Tao rune laws, tore through space, and blasted towards Palatial Lord Limitless. Boom! The void collapsed once again. This time, it wasn't caused by Palatial Lord Limitless nirvana extinguishing mirror, but Ning Cheng's creation divine spear. The creation divine spear cut through all space-time, and at the same time, it arrived between Palatial Lord Limitless eyebrows. How was this possible? It wasn't until this moment that Palatial Lord Limitless realized that the nirvana extinguishing Tao light in her nirvana extinguishing mirror had been broken by Ning Cheng. However, the reality made her unable to continue thinking about it. The creation divine spear was about to tear through her eyebrows and nail her to death in the void. A similarly vast light of destiny flashed from between Palatial Lord Limitless eyebrows, and the creation divine spear slammed into the center of this vast light of destiny. The exuberant aura of the light of destiny suddenly dimmed, and Ning Cheng's creation divine spear also managed to block the light of destiny, causing it to slide into the left chest of Palatial Lord Limitless. Bang! A blood mist exploded, and half of Palatial Lord Limitless' body disappeared along with her left chest. A sharp explosion rang through the void, and Palatial Lord Limitless had already retreated from the range of Ning Cheng's spear intent when half of her body exploded. In just a breath's time, Palatial Lord Limitless, who had lost half of her body to Ning Cheng, recovered once again. Although her body recovered in just a breath's time, many powerhouses could still see half of Palatial Lord Limitless' body. At this moment, Palatial Lord Limitless no longer showed the anger she felt when Ning Cheng's spear wave swept away half of her dress. Instead, she looked at Ning Cheng with a pale face. Ning Cheng was very powerful. She knew it the moment she brought out the Seven Bridges spirit technique. However, she still didn't put Ning Cheng in her eyes. In her eyes, her real opponents were Sacred Buddha Chu Pu, Sacred Master Five Elements, and the others. Only these people knew how terrifying her Nirvana extinguishing mirror was. Only these people wouldn't end up trapped by her Nirvana extinguishing mirror like Ning Cheng. Now that her Nirvana extinguishing mirror was exposed, more people knew that she had this mirror. In fact, this wasn't much. The most terrifying thing was that Ning Cheng had a way to crack her Nirvana extinguishing mirror. It wasn't until this moment that she realized that Ning Cheng's strength was far beyond her expectations. If she had known that Ning Cheng was so powerful, she wouldn't have offended Ning Cheng for killing an insignificant woman. Even for a powerhouse as strong as her, there were no ifs. Palatial Lord Limitless didn't try to fight for the Gate of Good Fortune, nor did she dare to step forward and continue fighting with Ning Cheng. Even if she had one of the top treasures in the universe, after Ning Cheng destroyed half of her body, her strength still dropped a bit. Ning Cheng flipped his hand, and the ice flower embedded itself on the Good Fortune Divine Spear. Palatial Lord Limitless didn't dare to continue fighting with him, but it didn't mean that he would let her go. Fellow Taoists, everyone here is a sensible person. Is there any use in continuing this melee? There is more than one person in the Gate of Good Fortune. I suggest that everyone join forces. Palatial Lord Limitless didn't wait for Ning Cheng to approach her and shouted. Everyone understood the meaning of Palatial Lord Limitless' words. Palatial Lord Limitless had been severely injured by Ning Cheng due to her carelessness. Now that her strength had dropped, she wanted to rope in allies. However, no one objected. Everyone also understood that Palatial Lord Limitless' words were right. Only by forming an alliance of the strong would they have the opportunity to step into the Gate of Good Fortune. No matter how much Palatial Lord Limitless' strength dropped, she was still one of the strongest people here. Tao Friend Limitless is right. I, Styx River, agree. Styx River didn't keep attacking Yemo. After exchanging one move with Yemo, he knew that if he didn't form an alliance with someone, no matter how many Azuras he brought, he probably wouldn't be able to get what he wanted. He knew Palatial Lord Limitless' power all too well. Although Palatial Lord Limitless seemed injured, he knew that Palatial Lord Limitless didn't lose much power. As for Ning Cheng, it wasn't that he didn't want to form an alliance with Ning Cheng, but he knew that once Ning Cheng knew his backup plan, Ning Cheng would never form an alliance with him. Even if they formed an alliance, they would turn against each other. If the two of you don't mind, let's add this old monk, Chu Pu said without hesitation after seeing Styx River form an alliance with Palatial Lord Limitless. He wasn't naive enough to think that the Western universe could enter the Gate of Good Fortune alone. Styx River and Palace Lord Limitless were all too familiar with Chu Pu's power. Now that Chu Pu wanted to join their alliance, they naturally wouldn't reject. The juniors are fearsome. In that case, us old guys will form an alliance first. After dealing with these ignorant juniors, we'll talk about the Gate of Good Fortune. Five-element Divine Lords saw this and knew that they had to form an alliance first. It was a dream to rely on their own power to annihilate the surrounding competitors and step into the Gate of Good Fortune. Tao Friend, I heard that the Gate of Good Fortune has 5 great divine positions. If you're willing to join us, no matter which of the 5 positions you get, you will definitely get one. Styx River fought with Yemo once and knew how powerful Yemo was. After Chu Pu and 5-element Divine Lord joined, he started to rope in Yemo. As for the enmity between Yemo and Chu Pu, he didn't know. Even if he did, it was insignificant to him. Chapter 1524. At this moment, all the powerful beings started to form alliances. Those solo cultivators and weaker ones also stopped. Although the situation wasn't clear yet, Everyone knew that the alliance formed by Wu Liang and Five-Element Divine Lord was very strong. At the same time, many powerful beings chose to support the alliance of Palace Lord Wu Liang and them. Within a dozen breaths, the alliance of Palatial Lord Limitless and the others had attracted close to 50% of the people. Even loose cultivator e.g., Tao Lord Five Colors, Tao Lord Strength, Xian Mao, and the others joined in. But Ming He still valued Ning Cheng and Yi Mo the most. Ning Cheng had great enmity with Wu Liang and it seemed he wouldn't join their alliance. He still looked hopefully at Yi Mo. I can join the alliance, but let me kill Chu Pu first. Facing the alliance of so many powerful beings, Yi Mo's eyes didn't even waver. He still stared at Chu Pu with killing intent. If it wasn't for the fact that so many people from the Sacred Tao sect were here and he was worried, he would have used Zisu even if these experts had formed an alliance. Wu Liang sneered, "You want to fight Chu Pu Buddha Lord? You overestimate yourself. I Limitless, vow here that as long as I, Limitless, can step into the gate of good fortune and obtain the good fortune saint seat, then all fellow Taoists that join our alliance and follow me will obtain the good fortune saint seat and forever stand tall in the world of good fortune." Celestial Venerable Netherworld River understood why Palatial Lord Limitless had responded so quickly. She was afraid. She was scared of Ning Cheng. Despite knowing that Ming He wouldn't kick out Chu Pu, Wu Liang still said it first. She was scared that after kicking out Chu Pu to attract Yi Mo, he would kick out Wu Liang to attract Ning Cheng. I Chu Pu vow once more. If I, Chu Pu, can represent the Western cosmos and obtain the good fortune sage throne, then all the fellow Taoists who join our alliance and follow me will also obtain the Western Tao throne, standing eternally in the world of good fortune. Following behind Palace Master Limitless, Saint Buddha Chu Pu also made an oath. The two swore the same thing. They both added, "Follow me," after the alliance. One could see that even in an alliance, there was a difference in who they followed. The difference was that Chu Pu promised the Western Tao position while Wu Liang promised the Tao position. Everyone here knew that whether it was the Tao Immortal of the West or the Tao Immortal of the West, they would stand tall in the world of creation for all eternity. The Five Elements Sacred Lord smiled faintly and stood up. When we were fighting for the Gate of Fortune, our alliance was called the Union of Fortune. All fellow Taoists who join my alliance of fortune, no matter who you are, will obtain the Tao seat that belongs to you. Fate Tao Lord was a peaceful person and didn't like to fight for things. She had to fight for the Gate of Fortune. Yi Mo was the first to form an alliance with her after hearing that there were 5 divine positions in the Fortune Gate. She could give the first divine position to Yi Mo and it didn't matter if she got the 2nd or 5th divine position herself. But she knew that Chaos Tao Lord and Karma Tao Lord wouldn't, so she could only promise Ning Cheng the 4th and 5th divine positions. Yi Mo knew what Fate Tao Lord meant. If Yi Mo didn't die, he wouldn't care about the divine positions. But Yi Mo died and he didn't want to give the divine position that controlled fate to anyone. If he controlled the first divine position, he could bring Yi Mo back. How could he give it to someone else and then ask for help? To be honest, if he could choose between Chaos Tao Lord, Karma Tao Lord and Ning Cheng, he would choose Ning Cheng to join. But now that Chaos Tao Lord and Karma Tao Lord wanted to join his Divine Tao Alliance, he couldn't reject them, right? Ning Cheng saluted with his fist to Yi Mo. "Thank you, Sect Leader Yi, I don't plan to join other alliances yet." It wasn't that Ning Cheng didn't want to join the Divine Tao Alliance, but he couldn't. He didn't want the 4th and 5th divine positions. He wanted to fight for the first divine position. Just as Yi Mo thought, if the first divine position could bring Yen Ji and Chu Manha back, why would he choose to ask for help? Destiny was something one had to fight for. Didn't even Tao Monarch Fate have to fight for the Gate of Destinies? Star Tao Lord who had been waiting for Ning Cheng to make a decision sighed. He admired Ning Cheng a lot and wanted to join Ning Cheng. Now that Ning Cheng fought alone, he was destined to lose. He decided to join the Divine Tao Alliance. To him, the Divine Tao Alliance had a better chance than the Fortune Alliance. He was also one of the 10 great Tao Lords, but he was far less confident than Chaos Tao Lord and Karma Tao Lord. Plus, when the Chaos Inner Realm was broken, Chaos Tao Lord and Karma Tao Lord each got a primordial Chaos Tao wave. Their power was probably beyond his reach now. To him, it was enough as long as he could get one in the Gate of Fortune. As for what it was, he really didn't care. When the Alliance of Sages and the Alliance of Fortune were formed, the chaotic scene became orderly. The powerful beings split into two groups and formed their own camps. The two alliances were clearly separated. Only Ning Cheng's people seemed a bit shabby. Alliance Dao Link. 5-element Divine Lord saw Fate Dao Lord and Yi Mo form an alliance and frowned before roaring. After the 5 elements Sacred Lord's clear roar, the great Dao aura of all the members of the Creation Alliance formed an invisible connection. This meant that everyone had to work together to fight for the Gate of Fortune. At the same time, the Divine Dao Alliance also formed a Dao Link. "Brother, what do we do?" Ning Rulan and the others walked up to Ning Cheng and asked worriedly. Ning Cheng took a deep breath and said heavily, "Don't worry, fighting for the Gate of Fortune isn't something that can be won with numbers. There will only be one person who can step into the gate first." There were tens of thousands of powerful beings here. Ning Cheng knew that he was just comforting everyone. Other than the golden light in front of the Gate of Fortune, there was an oppressive aura of war. Ning Cheng knew that this was the moment of peace before the war. If they fought again, he probably wouldn't be able to be as relaxed as before. Unless he gave up the fight for the Gate of Fortune, he wouldn't be facing a state of disunity. 5-element Divine Lord's gaze fell on Fate Dao Lord. He felt that no matter how strong Yi Mo was, he should be slightly weaker than Fate Dao Lord. The biggest obstacle for him to be the first to step into the Gate of Fortune might be Fate Dao Lord. 5-element Divine Lord soon retracted his gaze and roared solemnly, "5-element world, open. I will drive all the second step experts of my world to fight for the Gate of Fortune for me. Those who have merit will follow me into the Gate of Fortune and obtain eternal life." Ning Cheng looked at 5-element Divine Lord in confusion. Was this guy crazy? Soon, Ning Cheng understood what was going on. He watched as a door opened in the void above the 5-element Sacred Master's head and endless second-step experts swarmed out. His scalp went numb. 5-element Divine Lord's world was clearly different from his world. Perhaps 5-element Divine Lord's world had formed a universe. There were also many cultivators in his world. These cultivators were the same as him, pursuing the Supreme Tao. But what happened after they succeeded in their cultivation? They just came here to fight for the Gate of Fortune for 5-element Divine Lord. To put it bluntly, they were just cannon fodder for 5-element Divine Lord. What shocked Ning Cheng even more was that after Sacred Master 5 Elements, Dao Lord Immeasurable, Heavenly Venerate Styx River, Sacred Buddha Chu Pu, Dao Lord Primal Chaos, Dao Lord Karma, and other powerhouses each opened their own world gates. From each world gate, countless powerhouses rushed out. Among them, the people brought by Heavenly Venerate Styx River were mainly Azuras filled with a murderous aura. Ning Cheng looked up at the vast void. Not only did his scalp go numb, but he also felt cold all over. He even felt a little lost. He thought of Taoist Zijiao's words once again, "Tao is not Tao, humans are not humans. Pity us, how torturous it is." Was he also in a human world and could be used as cannon fodder at any time? Chapter 1525. Not only Ning Cheng, but Yi Mo was also shocked. Seeing those powerful beings open their worlds and bring countless cannon fodder to fight for the Gate of Fortune, he felt a little disappointed. He wasn't disappointed that his world didn't have cannon fodder to help, but that even Fate Dao Lord opened his world and many powerful beings came out ready to fight for the Gate of Fortune. Yi Mo cultivated Fate cultivation method and knew the power of Fate Dao. He admired Fate Dao Lord a lot. But now, even Fate Dao Lord treated these beings as insects. This made him feel very uncomfortable. Sect leader Yi, why didn't your world open? Chaos Dao Lord saw Yi Mo was unmoved and frowned. Since they were allies, they had to give it their all. To him, it was natural for the powerful beings raised in his world to be used as cannon fodder. They were like chickens, ducks, cows, and goats that people in the mortal world raised in pens. They had no qualms about slaughtering them. Moreover, they had given these captives a supreme goal. As long as they could help them cross the gate of destinies, they would be able to break free from their shackles and face the true vastness of the universe. They would no longer be bound by anything. Yemo took a deep breath. He had decided to leave this divine Tao alliance he named. His good fortune did not need to be accumulated with the lives of others. To him, there was a difference in strength, and everyone's lives were equal. There was no difference between them. Fate Tao Lord clearly saw what Yemo meant and said softly, "Tao friend, these people are all extremely willing to fight for the gate of fortune. As for the fellow Taoists in my world, all of them took the initiative to stay in my world. They are also disciples of my dojo, and they are all here for this day. I told them to leave my world before, but they didn't want to." Yemo's eyes fell on those people who were extremely excited after coming out of the powerful being's world. He knew he was wrong. These people didn't have the thought of being kept as cannon fodder at all. There was only determination in their eyes. He understood that if he were in their shoes, he would also be filled with the same fighting spirit. Those who could come out of other people's worlds to fight for fortune were definitely powerful beings of that world. To be able to become a powerhouse of a world who didn't have a firm will, they naturally desired to step onto a more powerful stage. As long as they succeeded, they would also be able to obtain a supreme opportunity. At this moment, Styx River, who had been inviting Yemo, suddenly raised his arms and yelled, "Creation is born, Yuan 2, Avicii return." Xing Shi, who had been hesitating about which side to join, suddenly felt a vast and boundless pressure binding her divine soul and will. A kind of power that wanted to suck away her soul was pulling at her. Her entire body began to tremble. In just a moment she understood. She stared at Mingi with her blood-red eyes and said with some difficulty, "Mingi, you deliberately threw the Avicii sword." Xing Shi, "Although you aren't as good as the previous sacred lord, you're still not bad. Since you have obtained my Avicii sword, why don't you quickly return to your position and help me fight for the good fortune? When I enter the creation realm, there will definitely be a place for you." Xing Shi spat out a mouthful of blood as she trembled uncontrollably. Styx River snorted. "Xing Shi, if you don't return to your position now, when will you?" Xing Shi's eyes flashed with madness. She had always wanted to be the supreme expert who dominated the vast universe. Even if countless experts appeared during the fight for the creation gate, she didn't want to be ordered around by others and become someone else's cannon fodder. Haha. Xing Shi suddenly laughed crazily. "Even if I, Xing Shi, cut off my divine soul and shatter my essence spirit, I won't be a dog of Mingi." As she spoke, the blue lotus under her feet burst out with a blue blade ray. This blade ray sliced through the top of Xing Shi's head, and the next moment, Xing Shi's entire body dimmed. The sound of void laws collapsing and exploding rang out, and the endless laws of heaven and earth shattered. Ning Cheng sighed when he saw this scene. He had long wanted to kill Xing Shi, but seeing Xing Shi end up like this, apart from sighing, he also admired this woman. Experts had the dignity of experts. Xing Shi knew that even if she cut off the connection with the Avicii sword, she would not be able to escape Mingi's hands in her weakened state. Even if Mingi didn't do anything, she wouldn't have a chance to survive here. There was almost no one who could really help her. There was no way for her to go other than to die. If it was any other place, she would have a chance to escape. But in front of the creation gate, Mingi withdrew his sword and ended her life. Therefore, this woman decisively cut off her divine soul and even gave up a treasure like the creation green lotus, letting herself be reborn in samsara. This was also her cleverness. If she wanted to keep the creation green lotus, she might not even have the chance to reincarnate. Ning Cheng, if I knew this earlier, I might as well die in your hands. It's better than being forced to death by a butcher. These were Xing Shi's last words. She had schemed against the previous sacred Lord Green Lotus and perfected the creation Green Lotus. However, she didn't expect that she wouldn't be schemed against by sacred Lord Green Lotus, but by a sword. It seemed that Yuan Tu and the Avicii sword were both treasures of Mingi Heavenly Venerable. This person deliberately gave up these two peerless killing weapons for today. This guy was also learning from Xianhuang Gaian and Itinerant Yi. The only difference was that Xianhuang Gaian and Itinerant Yi had been defeated by Ning Cheng and Yemo. However, Mingyi had succeeded in controlling his Avicii sword. If Xingshi hadn't rather died than become Mingyi's dog, he would have succeeded. Xingshi had the Avicii sword, but she had been forced to die before the fight for the creation gate. Then, the owner of the Yuantu sword, as Ning Cheng's thoughts reached this point, he immediately stagnated. Wasn't the owner of the Yuantu sword Lan Shu? He hadn't seen Lan Shu before. Was Lan Shu also going to be summoned by Mingyi? Boom 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 boom. 5 violent explosions rang out in the mountain gaze in succession. 5 colorful clouds burst open, followed by 5 figures flashing like lightning. Almost at the same time, the creation green lotus and the Avicii sword turned into 2 shadows and fled. After Xingshi perished, her world shattered, and everything vanished. The creation green lotus didn't shatter but escaped into the void. As for the Avicii sword, it had an owner, and the direction in which it escaped was where Mingyi Heavenly Venerate was. Mingyi Heavenly Venerate's face turned livid. He didn't expect that Xingshi would rather die than work for him. But besides Xingshi, there was another person. When Ning Cheng thought of Lan Shu, he saw the 5 colorful clouds explode in the mountain gaze. Before the 5 figures landed in front of him, Ning Cheng saw Lan Shu and Yu Qing. Among the 5 figures, he knew 3 of them. Apart from Lan Shu and Yu Qing, there seemed to be one called Luo Xian. He had seen Luo Xian and her master at the edge of the Milky Way. The other 2 were men. One was thinner, and the other was darker. Ning Qing didn't know either of them. Ning Qing wasn't in the mood to care whether he knew them or not. He rushed directly to Lan Shu. He didn't even care about the creation green lotus that had escaped. Although he knew that he had the highest chance of success if he fought for the creation green lotus because the direction in which the creation green lotus escaped was very close to him. He could see that Yu Qing had become much stronger after coming out of the mountain gaze. At this time, Yu Qing could definitely protect herself. Lan Shu's strength had also skyrocketed, but Lan Shu didn't seem to be in a good condition. Ning Cheng thought of Xingshi, who had perished before, and knew that Lan Shu had also suffered from the backlash of the Yuan killer sword. It should be Mingyi Heavenly Venerate trying to make her surrender. Lan Shu was struggling to resist, and it looked like she wouldn't be able to make it through. Dang! A clear sound of sword chi colliding directly cut through the void. Lan Shu couldn't even protect herself, but her Yuan killer sword still slashed out. The Yuan killer sword's sword chi directly struck the Avicii sword that had escaped from her side, and the Avicii sword trembled slightly. Ning Cheng, who had just come up, had already stepped forward, grabbed the Avicii sword, and sent it into his mysterious yellow bead. At the same time, he supported Lan Shu, who had a pale face and was bleeding from her mouth. When Lan Shu saw Ning Cheng, she smiled and said with difficulty, "Ning Cheng, I thought I could help you, but I didn't expect to be plotted against. That sword isn't. Don't talk, I'll deal with it. You just need to cut off the connection between the Yuan killer sword and your soul." Ning Cheng's good fortune divine spear swept out, and millions of spear waves directly locked onto the Yuan killer sword that wanted to rebel. At the same time, he punched towards the angry Mingyi Heavenly Venerate. Xingshi had no one to help her, but Lan Shu had Ning Cheng to help her. So what if the Avicii sword was Mingyi's? His sea of consciousness was like a vast void. Even if it swept away the Avicii sword that only had a trace of connection with Mingyi, how could Mingyi Heavenly Venerate jump into the sky? Ning Cheng, you're courting death. You even dare to meddle in this seat's affairs. Mingyi Heavenly Venerate's words came at the same time as a banner blotting out the sky. He wanted to find 2 sword boys to nurture the slaughter sword, but now it seemed that even one of them couldn't succeed. How could he not be angry? The fiery red banner directly locked onto the aura of the entire void, bringing with it an endless aura of killing intent. Ning Cheng felt the blood-red killing intent all around him, leaving no space for him to breathe. Before they even met, Ning Cheng knew that Mingyi Heavenly Venerate was far stronger than Qin Mutian. The creation divine spear locked onto the Yuan killer sword, while Ning Cheng's fist intent also brought with it all the aura in the vast void. Although Ning Cheng had a lot of magic treasures, only the creation divine spear could compete with Mingyi Heavenly Venerate's banner. When the creation divine spear couldn't be emptied, His fist was more reliable than any magic treasure. Boom. The sound of the void collapsing and laws exploding filled the air. The blood-red killing intent in the Berserk Azura banner was dispersed by Ning Cheng's fist. Ning Cheng's chest felt as if a huge stone was pressing down on it. Collect for me. Ning Cheng once again swept away the Yuan killer sword, clenched the creation divine spear, and stared at Mingi Heavenly Venerate not far from him. Mingi Heavenly Venerate sucked in a breath of cold air. When he saw that Wu Yang couldn't beat Ning Cheng, he thought that Ning Cheng had obtained a Nirvana ice flower by chance. Only now did he know that Ning Cheng's strength wasn't any weaker than Yi Mo's. When Ning Cheng and Mingi fought, it was like a chain reaction. The previously quiet gate of fortune once again became filled with killing intent. Countless Dao technique lights and magic treasures bombarded each other, and the real battle began. Ning Cheng looked at the people on his side anxiously. He had fewer people on his side. If he wasn't here, he would definitely be at a disadvantage. Now that Mingi was staring at him, he couldn't leave at all. "Brother Ning Cheng, I'm here." A majestic voice sounded, followed by a figure stepping down from the void with golden light. Ning Cheng was overjoyed when he saw the person. Chapter 1526. Although he had not seen Song Wei for many years, he still recognized Song Wei the moment he arrived. Ning Cheng had previously heard that Zhu Yinghua had forced Song Wei to flee to the Western universe and that Sage Buddha Chu Pu had trapped him with the 9 ruins' heavenly symbols. He had always thought that Song Wei's strength was at most on the same level as Ao Ken, Xiao Xinxi, and the others. Later, when he obtained the 9 ruins' heaven symbols and did not see Song Wei within it, he realized that if Song Wei had truly escaped from the 9 ruins' heaven symbols, then Song Wei might not be a simple person. With the reputation of the 9 ruins' heaven symbols, even if he ended up trapped inside, he would not dare to say that he would be able to escape. However, Song Wei managed to do it. If Song Wei's strength was truly that simple, then it would truly be a strange thing for him to escape from the 9 ruins' heaven symbols. Since Song Wei ended up being chased by Zhu Yinghua, then he should have suffered some serious injuries. Now that Ning Cheng saw Song Wei, he was even more sure that his thoughts were correct. The Dao charm around Song Wei's body was thick, and it was not any weaker than Xing Shi's. He was definitely a powerhouse. What's more, Ning Cheng also knew that middle-aged man with a faint golden killing intent standing beside Song Wei. If it wasn't the good fortune indestructible axe, then who else could it be? Between Song Wei and the good fortune indestructible axe was an extremely majestic beast. When the behemoth saw Ning Cheng's gaze sweeping over, it gave out an affectionate cry towards Ning Cheng before turning into a gray shadow and rushing towards Ning Ruolin. The next moment, the giant beast transformed into a kitten-like existence and fell into Ning Ruolin's arms. Obviously, it knew that Mingi, who was confronting Ning Cheng, was very strong, and it couldn't help much. At this time, Ning Cheng was not as ignorant as he was in the past. He naturally knew that Grey Toot Toot was indeed a descendant of a mythological beast that contained the blood of all the different sides. At this moment, Grey Toot's strength had already reached the peak of the second step, and was only a step away from creating a world, but for some unknown reason, it had not yet taken human form. There's also me, Pan Qian. Immediately following behind Song Wei and the good fortune indestructible axe was Pan Qian. Pan Qian stepped onto the battlefield, and his majestic aura immediately caused those with weaker cultivations to take a few steps back. Perhaps Pan Qian didn't have the strength of an omnipotent expert, but the aura he exuded when he descended had a crushing aura that wasn't any weaker than an omnipotent expert. What was even more depressing was the giant axe in his hand, which seemed to have been specially refined for the purpose of opening up planets. Xiao! 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 Swoosh! Ning Cheng didn't even have time to talk to Pan Qian and the others when 5 consecutive void explosions erupted, followed by a violent void collapse and law shattering. Yimo, I attacked the Green Lotus first. Are you going to intervene too? 5-element Divine Lord's furious voice sounded. After Ning Cheng gave way to the Green Lotus of good fortune, Sacred Master 5 Elements was the first to rush towards the green lotus of good fortune. However, before he could rush to the green lotus of creation, a figure flew out of the mountain gaze and landed on the escaping green lotus of creation. In the opinion of the 5-element sacred lord, even if he had obtained the fortuitous opportunity in the mountain gaze, he was still inferior to an ant in his eyes. He didn't expect Yi Mo to disregard the rules like this. He was about to get the lotus, but Yi Mo shot 5 arrows. The might of these 5 arrows forced him to evade them. Originally, after he dodged the 5 arrows, he still had the chance to kill the lucky woman who obtained the green lotus of creation and obtain it. However, the 4 golden arrows in Yi Mo's hands made him give up on the idea of fighting over them. He could clearly feel that if Yi Mo shot out all 4 arrows, even he might be injured. How could he be injured at this moment? No matter how good the treasure was, it wasn't as good as the gate of creation. Pity for the green lotus of creation. He didn't have time to care about the green lotus of creation. It wasn't that he really didn't like it, but he put all his energy on the worldwood. Now that the worldwood was gone, the green lotus of creation was a good thing for him. Yi Mo didn't shoot out the 9 arrows clearly to save people. He didn't plan to use all his trump cards. Ning Cheng's eyes narrowed. He felt that if Yi Mo shot out the 9 arrows, it would be no weaker than his 5-colored star splitter arrow. Ning Cheng knew the woman who took the green lotus of creation. She was called Luo Xian. It seemed Yi Mo knew Luo Xian too. Brother Yi. Luo Xian coincidentally got the green lotus of creation. Seeing Yi Mo again, she choked. Luo Xian, long time no see. Yi Mo saw 5-element divine lord was concerned about the golden arrow of divine extermination and turned around to greet Luo Xian. He was a little excited. When Luo Xian disappeared, he searched the heavens and the earth but didn't find anything. Yi Mo knew this wasn't the time to reminisce about old times. How long was it? Even she had never thought that it would be more than 100,000 years later that they would meet again after their parting that year. To her, it wasn't important if Yi Mo saved her or not. What was important was that she saw that Brother Yi again. Brother Yi, this is the green lotus of creation, you can have it. Luo Xian grabbed the green lotus and gave it to Yi Mo. To her, the best thing should be left to Brother Yi. Yi Mo felt very guilty. He didn't take good care of Luo Xian, and now, Luo Xian wanted to give the green lotus to him. Yi Mo took the green lotus slowly. He thought of the girl who gave him the golden page world, the girl who chased ghosts with him, and the girl who was willing to jump off a building with him. Sister Luo Xian, you already gave me the golden page world. You need to keep this green lotus and we'll go into the gate of fortune together. Yi Mo put the green lotus in Luo Xian's hands. He had made up his mind. Yi Mo was in trouble. Even if he died, he wouldn't let anything happen to Luo Xian. Rumbling killing intent and exploding Dao wave law interrupted the two's words. The gate of fortune had already formed an endless slaughter. As those supreme beings opened their worlds, the number of people participating in the battle couldn't be described with numbers. Rumble! Styx River's flag swept up the sky full of blood-red killing intent and smashed at Ning Cheng. Endless Shu Ras also charged over. Husband, I'll help you. Yu Qing stepped into the void and the dense cluster of Shu Ras formed a bloody path in front of her. Ning Cheng saw Yu Qing's Dao wave surging around her. Her seemingly gentle aura made many Shu Ras unable to even get close to her. He felt more at ease. Sister Qing, take Sister Shu to help Brother Tsang Wei and the others. A mere Styx River and a few Shu Ras can't do anything to me. Ning Cheng said immediately. Yu Qing trusted Ning Cheng's strength. After hearing Ning Cheng's words, she took the weak Lan Shu and retreated without hesitation. Styx River Heavenly Venerable sneered and didn't stop Lan Shu. It wasn't enough for a little Ning Cheng to be arrogant in front of him. As long as he killed Ning Cheng, who could stop him from killing some ants? When the Azura flag wrapped around the surrounding void, a huge red lotus appeared above Ning Cheng's head. This was his 4th treasure, the Red Lotus of Hellfire. The Red Lotus looked similar to Palace Master Woyang's Nirvana extinguishing mirror, but the effect was completely different. The Red Lotus of Hellfire was like a fairy scattering flowers. Dense red lotus petals drifted out, each petal pointing directly at Ning Cheng's Dao heart. The terrifying temperature shot out by the red lotus petals almost tore Ning Cheng's Tao heart apart. At this moment, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was directly blocked by the red lotus petals. In addition to the red lotus of hellfire that tore his Tao heart apart, there were only endless slaughtering asuras. Ning Cheng's good fortune divine spear swept up hundreds of millions of spear waves, but these spear waves were blocked by the red lotus petals of the hellfire and couldn't do anything to the crazily attacking asuras around him. Even if the spear wave shattered countless red lotus petals, more and more lotus petals would sweep down from the sky. His protective domain was strong and solid, so he didn't fear these asuras temporarily breaking through it. However, Styx River Heavenly Venerable was not an ordinary asura. What's more, even if he could block it, the people around him might not be able to. No matter how strong Tsang Wei and the others were, they couldn't stop the thousands of cannon fodders swarming towards them. The red lotus of hellfire, combined with the asura flag, almost bound all of Ning Cheng's attacks, which made Ning Cheng anxious. After Palace Master Wuyang's Nirvana extinguishing mirror, Ning Cheng once again felt the power of these weapons. From the performance of the red lotus of hellfire, Ning Cheng knew that although the red lotus of hellfire didn't have the fame of the good fortune azure lotus, it was still a top-grade treasure. If he didn't destroy the red lotus of hellfire, he wouldn't be able to break free from Styx River Heavenly Venerable's trap. Ning Cheng grabbed the good fortune divine spear and slammed it into the void, causing the five-colored star splitter bow to appear in his hand. In a flash, a killing intent that could tear apart the universe erupted from the five-colored star splitter bow in Ning Cheng's hand. The grayish killing intent spread out and instantly dispersed the red lotus petals of the hellfire. Is this the five-colored star splitter arrow? Styx River Heavenly Venerable, who was looking for an opportunity to shatter Ning Cheng's corporeal body and then strip Ning Cheng's soul to fill his artifact spirit, suddenly felt the terrifying killing intent from the five-colored star splitter arrow. Feeling shocked, he immediately calmed down. Although it was a good thing to have an essence spirit artifact spirit with Ning Cheng's strength, it wasn't worth it to use his own safety to obtain it. The Asura flag erupted with a mysterious flag seal, and the red lotus of hellfire that bound Ning Cheng became even more dazzling. A red pillar-like lotus arrow rushed out of the red lotus and directly rushed towards Ning Cheng's glabella. At this time, there were no more laws between heaven and earth, only the aura of death and slaughter. Boom! The five-colored star splitter arrow and the red lotus of hellfire's lotus arrow collided, and the void collapsed once again. The red lotus arrow split into countless fragments, while the five-colored star splitter arrow remained the same. Kacha! Bang! The five-colored star splitter arrow tore through the red lotus arrow and slammed into the center of the red lotus of hellfire. The boundary of the lotus petals made a cracking sound, followed by the sound of the boundary collapsing. Ning Cheng's vision instantly split apart, and his spiritual consciousness covered the entire battlefield in front of the good fortune gate without any hindrance. The red lotus that had lost the Tao charm of hellfire fell into Styx River Heavenly Venerable's hand. Styx River Heavenly Venerable looked at the red lotus of hellfire in his hand in disbelief and muttered to himself, "Why?" He knew very well that the five-colored star splitter arrow was inferior to his red lotus of hellfire in terms of grade. So why did Ning Cheng's arrow not only break his red lotus petals, but also shatter his red lotus hellfire? The good fortune divine spear in Ning Cheng's hand once again rolled up billions of spear waves, and the spirit technique traceless collapse covered all the asuras that trapped him. He wouldn't tell Styx River Heavenly Venerable why, but he knew why. The red lotus of hellfire's red lotus arrow contained the Tao charm of hellfire, just like his understanding of seeing a mountain is not a mountain. The red lotus of hellfire's red lotus arrow looked like an arrow, but it wasn't an arrow. His five-colored star splitter arrow was an arrow, a real arrow. It was precisely the realm of seeing a mountain is still a mountain. Regardless of his and Styx River's great realms, his realm in this arrow was a level higher than Styx River's. Chapter 1527. At the same time that Ning Cheng shot down Nether River's red lotus of hellfire, Ning Cheng's billions of spear waves also collided with the Azura flag. Violent void explosions rang out continuously, and Ning Cheng's spear waves were completely blocked by the Azura flag. Only a small amount of spear intent escaped and tore apart a few Azuras. Nether River Heavenly Venerate was furious. He wanted to take back the Avicii and Yuan killer swords, but he didn't expect that the Avicii swords and Yuan killer swords would injure the Red Lotus of Hellfire once again. The Azura flag rolled up a sky full of killing intent. He couldn't calm down without killing Ning Cheng. So what if he had the 5-colored star splitter arrow? Boom boom boom. Even more violent void collapses and destructive auras awakened the furious Nether River Heavenly Venerate. Amidst the battle between countless powerhouses, the Dao Charm laws exploded, and the endless void in front of the Golden Gate of Fortune began to collapse. Just like a hall with its walls peeled away, the void in front of the Gate of Fortune no longer looked the same as before. The void that had exploded was vast and boundless. Countless planets were rotating in various locations in the void, and the Golden Gate of Fortune suddenly appeared at the end of this vast void. Only the golden line in front of the Gate of Fortune told everyone that the Gate of Fortune hadn't changed. Everyone was stunned by the majestic scene of the void. The laws of this void were clearly stronger than the void they had been fighting in before. It could even be said that this was a new universe. Slaughter Realm. Ning Cheng muttered to himself. He finally understood how the Slaughter Realm came to be. The Slaughter Realm was a new universe's boundary that appeared during the fight for the Gate of Fortune. This universe's boundary was specially prepared for battle and slaughter. Not only did Ning Cheng understand, but the rest also understood. After a brief pause, even more crazy killing and competition repeated. The originally narrow void with hundreds of millions of powerhouses fighting had now become boundless. Countless planets in the boundary shattered, and powerhouses were torn apart one after another. Ning Cheng had already seen that despite everyone restraining each other, Sacred Master 5 Elements, Tao Lord Primal Chaos, and the others still rushed to the front. Nether River Heavenly Venerate also sobered up. He didn't want to fight with Ning Cheng at this time. His goal was the Gate of Fortune. Empyrean Styx River's Azura flag no longer attacked Ning Cheng. Instead, it rushed towards the Golden Gate of Good Fortune. Ning Cheng's figure had just moved when an endless number of cultivators blocked his path. Even if his spear wave was more powerful, the seemingly endless waves of cultivators blocked his path one after another. Seeing Heavenly Venerate Styx River opening up a passage under the protection of the endless Azuras, Ning Cheng finally understood the role of cannon fodder. Here, no matter how powerful he was, without the help of an endless supply of cannon fodder, it was impossible for him to rush to the Gate of Fortune at the first instant. This wasn't a battle between powerhouses. Even if he wanted to fight with those powerhouses, they wouldn't have the leisure to fight with him. Now, everyone's target was the Gate of Fortune. Even Abyssal River, who lost the Avicii and Yuan killer sword to Yemo, and 5-element Divine Lord who was stopped by Yemo for the creation Green Lotus, gave up all enmity and charged towards the Gate of Fortune. Brat, you're not giving up, are you? If you're giving up, I'm leaving. I don't expect to snatch that gate anyway. The Fortune Indestructible Axe tore apart all the Azuras in front of it and landed next to Ning Cheng. He wasn't a Dao body. No matter how strong he was, he didn't have the right to fight for the Gate of Fortune. Pan Qian also rushed over with his giant axe. Brother Ning, let's kill our way over too. I don't believe we can't kill our way out. The Indestructible Axe snorted. You want to kill your way over? Do you think those who can come here are idiots who stand there and let you kill them? Pan Qian didn't dare to talk back to the Indestructible Axe. He murmured. The Gate of Fortune of my ancient giant race is the door of the heart. As long as one's cultivation touches that door, it will naturally open. But in front of us, the Fortune Indestructible Axe snorted again. The Gate of Fortune is indeed the door of the heart. Do you think you can touch that door without fighting? Only by killing your way out can you achieve nirvana. Ning Cheng raised the Fortune God's spear and said loudly, in that case, let's kill our way over. At this point, apart from fighting for it, he had no other way out. As Ning Cheng's spear wave blasted out, The attacks from the good fortune indestructible axe, Pan Qian, Song Wei, and the others turned into a huge wheel that crushed through the endless void. Countless obstructions died, but more and more obstructions came rushing over. Just like the waves of the sea, they seemed endless. In the beginning, the people from the Good Fortune Alliance and the Sacred Tao Alliance restrained each other, just so that their alliance could rush into the Gate of Fortune a step earlier. But when Ning Cheng led his people to rush in, the two alliances joined forces to stop Ning Cheng. It turned out that strength in numbers always made sense. If it didn't make sense, then it meant that you didn't have enough people. No matter how strong Ning Cheng and the others were, no matter how fierce their attacks, they still fell far behind the people from the Good Fortune Alliance and the Sacred Tao Alliance. There was even an endless void between them. A blood-red color permeated the entire void universe, and broken Tao charm laws and incomplete essence spirits screeching could be seen everywhere. With their corporeal bodies shattered, even if no one cared about their essence spirits, they would still be affected by the Tao charm attacks of others and eventually turn into nothingness. The dark red void aura grew more and more violent. At this point, many people couldn't tell which alliance they belonged to and just subconsciously killed those who approached them. Ning Cheng looked at the several experts gradually approaching the Gate of Fortune and sighed in his heart. He knew that his chances were getting slimmer. "Master!" Chasing Bull screamed in Ning Cheng's ear again. Before Chasing Bull screamed, Ning Cheng heard a buzzing sound that shook the entire void universe. Immediately after, a scene that blotted out the sky and covered the sun appeared in his spiritual sense. The endless darkness surged over as if it wanted to crush this part of the universe into pieces. Ning Cheng sensed a familiar aura, causing the good fortune divine spear in Ning Cheng's hand to tremble. He looked at the huge void explosive golden wasp rushing towards him in surprise. It was the void explosive golden wasp king that he had released in the past. At this moment, the void explosive golden wasp king had already reached the third step and had even reached the realm merging realm. The next moment, the void explosive golden wasp king landed beside Ning Cheng. "Master, I'm here." The void explosive golden wasp king wasn't good with words. Even if it had already reached the realm merging realm, it still imitated Chasing Bull's tone and addressed Ning Cheng. "Little wasp." Chasing Bull's voice emerged from the mysterious yellow bead. Apparently, it had not yet sobered up from the imposing aura of the void explosive golden wasp swarm. The void explosive golden wasp king's spiritual consciousness swept out and scanned Chasing Bull's spiritual consciousness. However, Chasing Bull quickly changed its address due to the powerful suppression. "Wasp King is big." Ning Cheng wanted to know where the void explosive golden wasp king brought so many troops from, but he didn't have time to ask about it at this moment. Instead, he pointed to the Gate of Fortune and spoke, "Since they're here, let's rush in together." The void explosive golden wasp king didn't speak any nonsense and followed Ning Cheng into the endless killing army. The swarm of void explosive golden wasps blotted out the sky, causing almost everyone to feel a little confused. It wasn't that there weren't any demonic cultivators competing for the Gate of Fortune, but such a large-scale swarm of demonic beasts was simply unbelievable. However, when the endless exploding golden wasp swarm swooped down, everyone immediately sobered up. These void explosive golden wasps were here to compete for the Gate of Fortune, not just passing by. The fierce killing aura continued to rise, and a large number of exploding golden wasps died under the bombardment of various Tao techniques and artifacts. However, even more exploding golden wasps filled up the space. The allied army blocking Ning Cheng's path began to collapse, and the area in front of Ning Cheng finally became flat. "Brother Ning, you can go ahead and compete for the Gate of Fortune. The few of us here are enough." Song Wei saw that there were no more obstacles in front of him and spoke up directly. After seeing Chu Pu's strength, Song Wei knew that he could only help Ning Cheng compete for the Gate of Fortune with his strength, not fight for it himself. Not to mention fighting for it, he couldn't even cross the golden line in front of the Gate of Fortune. Ning Cheng had already seen the several people fleeing in front of him. He nodded and ordered the void explosive golden wasps to stabilize the situation before rushing towards the Gate of Fortune through the void. Although the Gate of Fortune was very close, Ning Qing once again felt like he was looking at a mountain. Originally, Ning Qing didn't care about it. After all, he wasn't the only one rushing towards the Gate of Fortune. The several people in front of him were also rushing towards the Gate of Fortune. But when Ning Qing saw Sacred Master 5 Elements rush into the golden line in front of the Gate of Fortune, he was shocked. Then he saw Yi Mo, Sacred Buddha Chu Pu, and Tao Lord Primal Chaos rush through the golden line one after another. Ning Qing suddenly paused. Did this mean that he would lose the chance to compete for the Gate of Fortune? Almost at the moment when Ning Qing saw these people rushing through the golden line, a clear realization appeared in his mind. The Gate of Fortune that he couldn't reach seemed to be right in front of him. Ning Qing took a step forward, and when his foot landed, he had already passed Palace Master Limitless, Nether River Heavenly Venerable, and the others, and crossed the golden line of fortune. The vast Tao runes of fortune crushed down, and Ning Qing's entire body was suppressed by this aura. He fell behind the golden line, in front of the Gate of Fortune. At this moment his spiritual consciousness was battered by the raging waves of the Tao runes of fortune, and he couldn't even release a little bit of it. Sensing the smell of blood, Ning Qing immediately understood. When the few people who came in before were fighting to be the first to step into the Gate of Fortune, someone was heavily injured, which gave him an advantage. Ning Qing naturally wouldn't miss this opportunity. He rushed past them without hesitation and landed in front of the Gate of Fortune. Almost at the instant when Ning Qing was about to step into the Gate of Fortune, a figure also stepped over from the other side, arriving in front of the Gate of Fortune at the same time as Ning Qing. Ning Qing released the Creation God Spear, sweeping up thousands of spear waves. Since he was already at the door, how could he give up this opportunity? Outside of Ning Qing's billions of spear waves, a purple sword ray sliced through the void towards Ning Qing. Yi Mo, who had deliberately given up on being the first to step into the golden line, would never allow others to enter the Gate of Fortune before him. He deliberately gave up on being the first to step into the Gate of Fortune because he knew that the first to step into the Gate of Fortune would be attacked by those who came later. Regardless of whether they were allies or not, no one would hold back in this place. In fact, he guessed right. He was the second to come in, but he was the first to reach the Gate of Fortune. No, it should be said that he reached the Gate of Fortune at the same time as someone else. Chapter 1528. Ning Qing? When Yi Mo's Zi Su sliced open the Tao waves nearby, he saw Ning Qing fighting for the gate with him. His daughter Yi Mo's figure appeared in Yi Mo's mind. The reason he looked at Ning Qing differently was because Ning Qing came from the same earth as him. Another important reason was that Ning Qing had saved Yi Mo more than once. Before the Good Fortune War, Yi Mo had begged him not to kill Ning Qing if he really fought against him. Yi Mo didn't know how many powerful beings there were in the world and thought he and Ning Qing were the strongest. If there was a final battle, it would be them. In fact, whether it was 5-element Divine Emperor, Chu Pu or Mingi, they wouldn't be weaker than him and Ning Qing. But there seemed to be heaven's will, and it was Ning Qing who fought for the gate with him. These thoughts flashed in Yi Mo's mind, but he instantly made up his mind. He wasn't going to kill Ning Qing, he was just going to fight for the first spot to go in. Zi Su hacked down without hesitation. The sword wave laws around it were even more dense. If he could force Ning Qing back half a step, he could go in the gate first. Almost at the same time, Ning Qing's spear wave also tore open the golden light and saw that it was Yi Mo. Did Yi Mo really know he would fight Yi Mo in the end? Although this wasn't the final battle, it was no different from a battle. As this thought flashed through his mind, Ning Qing immediately knew what he should do. The competition for the Gate of Fortune was inevitable, and he had to be the first one to enter. With Yi Mo's power, his spear wave could at most make Yi Mo back half a step or injure him. It wouldn't be fatal. To him, if Yi Mo could move half a step, he would be the first to go in. Rumble. Before the divine spear of fortune and Zi Su collided, the laws of spear intent and blade rhyme surged. Even the laws of heaven and earth that were as powerful as the Gate of Fortune trembled. Chu Pu. Just when Ning Cheng's spear was about to clash with Zisu, he saw Chu Pu Divine Buddha charge over. Chu Pu didn't fight for the gate and instead attacked Yi Mo's back with his golden staff. Ning Cheng's heart sunk. If it was before, his spear definitely wouldn't be able to heavily injure Yi Mo, but with Chu Pu who ambushed Yi Mo, with the two of them joining hands, no matter how strong Yi Mo was, his body would still crumble. If his physical body collapsed in this place, his primordial spirit would definitely be destroyed. Clearly, Chu Pu wanted to join forces with Ning Cheng to kill Yi Mo first. This Western monk unexpectedly dared to scheme against him. Ning Cheng's heart was filled with hatred. But if he didn't cooperate with Chu Pu, the first place would be taken by Yi Mo for sure. If he cooperated with Chu Pu, he would be able to go in first for sure. Not only that, but Yi Mo might also die because of this. As this thought flashed through his mind, the Tao runes of his divine spear started to distort in space. The twisted space ignored Yi Mo's attack and attacked Chu Pu Divine Buddha instead. It was definitely better for Yi Mo to get it first than anyone else. If he joined forces with Chu Pu to kill Yi Mo, he wouldn't feel at ease even if he got first. This wasn't just about breaking his promise to Yi Mo, it was about his Tao heart. He was prepared to take a strike from Yi Mo's purple sword. He believed Yi Mo would definitely not kill him just to get the first place. Boom boom boom. The creation god's spear and Chu Pu's Buddhist staff clashed against each other and the laws exploded once again. Ning Cheng's heart suddenly went cold. This killing intent that wanted to tear his body filled his entire soul. This was a chi of death. Did he misjudge Yi Mo and Yi Mo wanted to kill him? Another explosion of Tao waves and laws collapsed. Ning Cheng knew he didn't misjudge Yi Mo didn't want to kill him, but when Chu Pu Divine Buddha ambushed Yi Mo, 5-element Divine Lord ambushed him. When he helped Yi Mo stop Chu Pu Divine Buddha, Yi Mo's sword instantly reacted the same as him and smashed towards 5-element Divine Lord. The four clashed at the same time and then they all landed in front of the door. No one was able to snatch the first place, and no one continued to rush towards the Gate of Fortune. Yi Mo and Ning Cheng glanced at each other and nodded. They both knew what Chu Pu and 5-element Divine Lord thought. Chu Pu and 5-element Divine Lord made the most correct decision for them without discussion. When Yi Mo and Ning Cheng fought for the door, the two ambushed Yi Mo and 5-element Divine Lord. If they succeeded, it would mean that Chu Pu and Ning Cheng teamed up to kill Yi Mo and 5-element Divine Lord Du Mo and Yi Mo teamed up to kill Ning Cheng. With Chu Pu's concern for Yi Mo and 5-element Divine Lord's concern for Ning Cheng, this was the most correct decision. However, they didn't expect at the last moment, Yi Mo and Ning Cheng teamed up and stopped their ambush. At this moment, both Chu Pu and 5-element Divine Lord had intense contempt in their eyes. If it was them, they wouldn't be so soft-hearted. Hesitating in front of the Gate of Fortune was simply an insult to those who were competing for the fortune. If they could get this opportunity, they wouldn't miss it no matter who it was. Just when the four faced off in front of the Door of Fortune, two more dashing lights landed. Nether River Heavenly Lord and Chaos Tao Lord landed in front of the Door of Fortune. Since everyone's here, I suggest we go in order. I'm the first to cross the golden line of fortune and I created the 5-element world. Before 5-element Divine Lord finished, Ning Cheng interrupted. Du Mo, who do you think you are? I haven't even settled the score with you for ambushing me and you want to be the first to enter the Door of Fortune. Try me if you have the balls. With that said, the spear intent of the divine spear of creation almost materialized, bringing with it a strong killing intent. 5-element Divine Lord's face was very bad but he didn't keep talking. Although he did not put Ning Cheng in his eyes, he did not know where this fellow came from, but he did not dare to not put Ning Cheng's strength in his eyes. Even if Ning Cheng couldn't kill him, as long as Ning Cheng attacked him, the first place would have nothing to do with him. Ning Cheng was an idiot. He could even give up the Door of Fortune, what wouldn't he do? I feel that this Door of Fortune is a little strange. It's as though it's waiting for us, Yi Mo suddenly said. Yi Mo suddenly said. He was just one step away from the Gate of Fortune before and that's why he had this feeling. Ning Cheng had the same feeling as Yi Mo but he didn't say it. Chu Pu's sacred Buddha returned to his peaceful self and said, Sect leader Yi is right. This door of fortune has Tao runes. It's not the aura of the great Tao of fortune. Five-element divine lord nodded. He thought so too. Since everyone knows, then come in together. Don't fight. A calm voice sounded. This voice startled the 6 people in front of the door of fortune. Zishao. Ning Qing immediately knew who the other party was. Not only Ning Qing, but Five-element divine lord and Nether River also knew who this person was. It didn't matter if it was Zishao. With Zishao's power, she was qualified to fight for the door of fortune. What shocked everyone was that Zishao's voice came from inside the door of fortune. Just when the 6 of them didn't understand what was going on, the golden door of fortune suddenly collapsed. A boundless hall suddenly appeared in front of everyone. There was a hall behind the door of fortune? Neither spirit sense nor vision could tell how big this hall was. In the middle of the hall, there was a faint white jade mark. A Taoist stood on the white jade mark. It was Taoist Zishao. There was a similar white jade mark in the other 4 directions of the hall. Apart from that, there were 5 purple air masses outside the 4 directions of the hall. These 5 purple air masses exuded a rich Tao rune of the great Tao of fortune. Anyone could tell that these purple air masses were good stuff. This scene lasted less than a tenth of a breath. The 6 figures in front of the door turned into 6 streams of light and rushed towards the hall. The answer in Ning Cheng's mind became clearer. However, he wasn't sure. Therefore, he didn't rush towards the purple air masses. Instead, he rushed towards the white jade mark on the side of the hall. After a while, the hall quieted down again. Then, Primal Chaos Tao Lord and Styx River Empyrean dazed. This was because out of the 6 of them, only the 2 of them rushed towards the purple air masses. Yi Mo, Ning Cheng, Chu Pu and Five-element divine lord all occupied a white jade mark. The Primal Chaos Tao Lord and Styx River Empyrean felt that they had made the wrong choice. Were the 5 fortune gods referring to these 5 white jade marks? However, all 5 of the white jade marks in the hall were occupied by people, and none of the people who occupied the white jade marks were weak. At the same time, another 8 figures rushed in. 3 of them landed in the 3 purple chi that were still in the air. The other 5 had nowhere to go. Ning Qing knew almost all of these 8 people. Tao Monarch Fate, Tao Monarch Karma, Palace Master Limitless, Lan Shu, Luo Xian Yuqing. There were also 2 people whose names Ning Qing didn't know. However, he knew that these 2, like Lan Shu and the others, came out of the 5-colored clouds in the mountain gaze. The other 3 purple chi were occupied by Luo Xian, Yuqing and the black-faced man. Big brother, long time no see. You don't seem to be doing much better than me? The black-faced man standing on the purple chi mass suddenly looked at Emo and smiled. Zishao, who was standing in the middle, interrupted the black-faced man and said calmly, "What's supposed to come is here. I think the time has come." Ning Cheng looked at Purple Firmament and asked with a heavy tone, "Tao friend Purple Firmament, since you can control the gate of good fortune, does that mean that we have always been living in your world? Are we standing in the position of the 5 of creation?" Before Zishao could answer, Five-element divine lord sneered, "I'm afraid Zishao doesn't have that much face." Chapter 1529. Zishao didn't care about Five-element's sacred lord's tone and said calmly, "Both of you are right." Hearing this, Ning Cheng's heart sank. This was indeed Zishao's world. Then he had countless doubts. If this was really Zishao's world, why would Zishao stand with them? Also, why would Zishao fight for the good fortune indestructible axe in Zishao's world? Actually, this chaos does have a chance to become a world. It's just that I didn't refine this chaos world or merge with it like everyone else. It can be said that in this chaotic universe, apart from the ability to open the gate of fortune, I'm the same as everyone else. I can't control the life and death of anything in this chaotic universe, nor can I control anyone's destiny or Tao. Hearing Zishao's words, not only did Ning Cheng feel respect for Zishao, but everyone else also felt respect for him. Everyone understood what Violet Heaven was trying to say. Violet Heaven had a chance to bind this chaos verse, or perhaps merge it with this chaos verse. However, he hadn't done so. It was precisely because Zi Xiao didn't do so that everyone could stand here equally. Even Five Elements' Sacred Lord, who had mocked Zi Xiao, didn't say anything. If it were him, he wouldn't be able to do this. Back then, he had even wanted to completely merge with the World Tree before refining the Five-Element universe. It was only now that Five Elements' Sacred Lord understood why Zi Xiao had gone to watch the battle. Zi Xiao hadn't gone to steal the World Tree. The reason he hadn't done anything was not because he was afraid of being unable to deal with Duo, but because he didn't want Duo to refine the Five-Element universe. The Five-Element universe was just a universe in this piece of chaos. Zi Xiao wasn't even willing to refine this piece of chaos and gave everyone freedom. Naturally, he didn't want the Five-Element universe to be refined by Duo, Taoist Zi Xiao. If I'm not wrong, you killed Sacred Lord Light and Darkness back then, right? Sacred Buddha Chu Pu suddenly interrupted. Sacred Lord Light and Darkness had been injured, but he hadn't died. Now that Sacred Lord Light and Darkness had died, it was very likely that Zi Xiao had killed him. Zi Xiao sighed. Yes, because he wanted to refine the Light and Darkness universe. In my eyes, all universes are equal. Of course, I have my own selfish motives. I hope to find someone who can open up the opportunity of creation with me. Naturally, I don't want anyone to refine any universe under this piece of chaos. Ning Cheng suddenly thought of the countless cultivators in the many powerhouses worlds. Moreover, these people had all turned into cannon fodder because of the Gate of Good Fortune. Since the purple firmament could control the Gate of Fortune, it didn't seem right to let these cannon fodder fight each other. Taoist Zi Xiao seemed to have seen through Ning Cheng's thoughts and sighed. My Tao is still too shallow, and there are too many things that I can't control. What I can do is only choose to let the 5 great sage positions of creation be established and the 5 lesser venerables be gathered. The first time I opened the Gate of Fortune, it was because I saw the rise of the 10 Tao Lords and the 5 sages. He thought that he had found someone who could merge with his Tao, so he used the perfection of the 5 treasures of creation as the source of activation. It's a pity that their strength is still a little lacking, and they can't create the creation with me. Mingyi, who had been suppressing his displeasure, suddenly asked, could it be that the 5 white jade marks are the 5 great sage positions? The 5 clouds of purple gas we are in are the 5 lesser venerables? The purple firmament nodded. That's right. Whoever steps into the white jade marks first will be the owner of the 5 great sage positions. I came earlier, so I'm in the middle. Taoist Yi occupies the east sage position, Taoist Ning occupies the north sage position, Taoist Chu Pu occupies the west sage position, and Taoist Duo occupies the south sage position. This isn't fair. How can they occupy the 5 great sage positions? And we can only occupy the 5 lesser venerables? Heavenly Venerate Mingyi said with hatred. The purple firmament's tone was neither fast nor slow. The 5 great sage positions cannot be changed after they are occupied, at least not before the Gate of Good Fortune opens. The 5 lesser venerables can be changed. Back then, I left 5 clouds in the mountain gaze, thinking that the one who obtains the 5 colored clouds would be the venerables. Now, it seems that it was wishful thinking on my part. Heavenly Venerate Mingyi was speechless. What the purple firmament meant was that Mingyi might not even be able to keep his current venerables, let alone compete for the 5 great sage positions. The purple firmament ignored Heavenly Venerate Mingyi and looked at the others. Fellow Taoists, if you have any objections to the candidates for the 5 venerables, you can speak now. Tao friend, you're not fated to be the venerables. Leave it to me. Then, Karma Tao Lord slapped at the black-faced man. The black-faced man was furious. He got his fortune at the mountain gaze, but someone treated him like a soft persimmon. But as soon as his Tao wave swept up, it was bound by the endless karma Tao power. The black-faced man was extremely shocked. He didn't even have time to release his magic artifact and punched. Rumbling demonic chi clashed with Karma Tao Lord's punch. Sky full of laws exploded. But everyone here was powerful and this palace was extremely sturdy. The exploded laws didn't affect anyone else at all. The black-faced man knew he was no match for Karma Tao Lord in just one punch. he immediately called out desperately to Yi. Yi-mo, are you going to leave me to die? At least we're both Yi. Hearing this, Karma Dao Lord was shook. He knew Yi-mo's power too well. If Yi-mo interfered, he wouldn't be able to take the venerables. You abandoned your wife Nana, used Nangong Shaodai and then abandoned her again. In order to cultivate the demon Dao and strengthen the nine-headed void-devouring bug, you killed countless. On account of Ling, I didn't kill you. You still have the face to say your surname is Yi? Yi-mo said coldly. As Yi-mo spoke, Karma Dao Lord tore open Yi Zifeng's realm domain and punched Yi Zifeng's chest. Yi Zifeng spat blood and flew out of the palace. Almost at the same time Karma Dao Monarch sent Yi Zifeng flying, Karma Dao Monarch was already standing on the purple gas that Yi Zifeng had been standing on. If it wasn't for Yi-mo, that punch would have killed Yi Zifeng. Jia Liang Ji Fengyu greet 5-element Qian Bei. After Karma Dao Lord took a venerable spot, the man Ning Qing didn't know suddenly bowed to 5-element Sacred Lord. Ji Fengyu? Hearing this name, Ning Qing immediately remembered who he was. Wasn't this the guy who left Perpetual Moon Sect? He had been to the world Ji Fengyu left in the Time Wilderness. But soon, Ning Qing realized what Ji Fengyu wanted. Ji Fengyu wanted to use the pressure of 5-element Sacred Lord to steal a venerable spot. The reason he bowed to 5-element Sacred Lord was to tell him that he was going to follow 5-element Sacred Lord. Indeed, 5-element Sacred Lord nodded to Ji Fengyu. Dao friend Ji, if you want something, go get it yourself. 5-element Sacred Lord got one of the 5 great divine positions and was feeling great. Now that Ji Fengyu wanted to follow him, how could he reject? Ji Fengyu got the nod and rejoiced. His eyes fell on Luo Xian. To him, Luo Xian was the easiest to bully. Piss off, if you dare to take another step forward, I will nail you to death here. Seeing Ji Fengyu walk towards Luo Xian, Yi-mo waved his hand and the golden bow of divine extermination appeared in his hand. Ji Fengyu's heart went cold. He subconsciously looked at 5-element Sacred Lord. 5-element Sacred Lord didn't even bat an eyelid. He knew 5-element Sacred Lord didn't plan to help him. He had seen Yi-mo's power in the war. If 5-element Sacred Lord didn't attack, he wouldn't dare to steal Luo Xian's revered position. Ji Fengyu didn't plan to steal it. He knew he wouldn't be able to do so. As for Yu Qing, without 5-element Sacred Lord's help, he didn't dare to steal it either. Like Luo Xian, Yu Qing had someone protecting her. Ji Fengyu sighed and didn't move. So what if he planned for many years? In front of great power, all schemes were illusory. Seeing Ji Fengyu not attack, Zi Shao said calmly, "Those who occupy the 5 divine positions and 5 revered positions stay. The rest of you leave the Fortune Palace." Ning Cheng, I'll wait for you to succeed. Although Lan Shu was also a mountain-gazing opportunity holder, she was the first to leave. Lan Shu was indifferent. With Ning Cheng getting the divine position, she really didn't care about a revered position. At the same time, Fate Dao Lord moved. She charged towards Styx River Empyrean. Almost at the same time, Ning Cheng's 5-colored star splitter arrow and Yi-mo's golden bow of divine extermination shot out at the same time. Ning Cheng's reason for helping Fate Dao Lord was simple. It was to deal with Styx River Empyrean. Yi-mo's reason for helping Fate Dao Lord was even simpler. Fate Dao Lord was in an alliance with him. Styx River Empyrean didn't fear Fate Dao Lord at all in a one-on-one fight. But with the golden bow of divine extermination and the 5-colored star splitter arrow, no matter how confident Styx River Empyrean was, he didn't dare to fight them at the same time. Rumble! Styx River Empyrean's Shura flag was blasted away. His realm domain was even more chaotic. No matter how much he wanted the revered position, he had to move aside. Kacha! The underworld river crashed into the void of the main hall, creating a faint trace of a long river. Fate Dao Lord landed on Styx River Empyrean's purple revered position. Everyone else in the hall was swept out by a violent Dao wave chi. Even Palace Lord Wuliang couldn't avoid it. What puzzled Ning Cheng was that Mingi was still in the main hall. Moreover, the place where Mingi stood was the faint trace of the long river that he had smashed open. Daoist Zi Shao nodded. Since there should be one friend Styx River, then will be 11. Then, Taoist Zishao raised his hand and slapped out a white jade tablet. The white jade tablet was engraved with the words Middle Sage Creation Saint Zishao. As soon as this white jade tablet came out, it fell into the white jade mark under Tao Lord Zishao's feet and matched it perfectly. Tao Lord Zishao landed on this white jade tablet and said in a serious tone, "Each of us will have an opening sage tablet. When we gather our sage tablets, the world of good fortune will be opened. Ever since I obtained the opening mark of the world of good fortune, I've been wondering if our world is someone else's realm. But I'm sure of one thing. Regardless of whether it's someone else's realm or not, once we gather the 5 sage positions and open the world of good fortune, we will surpass everything." Ning Cheng suddenly understood what Taoist Zishao meant by, "Tao isn't Tao, humans aren't humans. Pity us, it's torturous." If Taoist Zishao's guess was right, then no matter how strong they were just a bunch of pitiful people living in someone else's realm. The Tao they cultivated was just a Tao under someone else's laws. Their people were just cannon fodder, just slightly higher level cannon fodder. Since Ning Cheng could understand it, the others clearly understood it too. Seeing everyone fall into silence, Taoist Zishao smiled. "This is just my guess. Plus, even if it's true, we might be able to open a new world here. Now, everyone take out your sage tablet and open the world of good fortune together." After Taoist Zishao, 5-element Divine Lord was the first to take out a tablet. On his white jade tablet, Ning Cheng saw the words South Divine Position 5-element Divine Du Mo. Then, Chu Pu took out a tablet that said, West Divine Position All Buddha Saint Chu Pu. Yemo took out a tablet that said East Divine Position Immortal Saint Yemo. Ning Cheng was confused. He didn't have a tablet. Now that he occupied the North Divine Position, if he couldn't take out a tablet, wouldn't that mean he couldn't open the world of good fortune? When the rest of the people looked at him, Ning Cheng suddenly remembered that he had obtained a stone stele when he was in the heaven-seated realm. However, it was a blank stone stele. Moreover, the 3 culmination towers had been restored to its original state because of his insights and the white jade stone stele. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed the stone stele. Sure enough, when Ning Cheng grabbed the blank stele, a row of golden words appeared on it. Northern Sage, Mysterious Yellow Sage Ning Cheng. 5 tablets landed under the 5 people's feet. Then, 5 golden rays shot out from their feet and gathered together, exploding into a blinding white light above the hall. East Divine Position Immortal Saint Yemo, West Divine Position All Buddha Saint Chu Pu, South Divine Position 5-element Divine Du Mo, North Divine Position Xian Huang Divine Ning Cheng, Middle Divine Position Creation Saint Zishao. 5 stone tablets engraved with golden light shot out in 5 different directions, extremely clear. Boom boom boom. Tao runes rumbled, and Ning Cheng felt his body lighten. It was as if the entire universe had exploded, and there was no longer any restraint. Ning Cheng felt like he had been staying in a well for a long time, and then suddenly rushed to the mouth of the well. It was the same majestic aura, but it was completely different from the feeling before. At this moment, he felt that the majestic aura was truly vast and boundless. What surprised Ning Cheng even more was that the heaven and earth essence Qi, which was of a higher grade than God's spirit Qi, filled him without a trace of impurities. Ning Cheng's great Tao directly rose, and both his bones and body sublimated at this moment. Creation realm. Ning Cheng was shocked. After coming to this place, he hadn't even started cultivating yet, but his strength had directly stepped into the creation realm. The opening of the world of good fortune is better than I imagined. Each of us has 108 main seats to be sealed. Under each main seat, there are many secondary seats. Everyone occupy their respective seats and stabilize their seats as soon as possible. It's definitely not just our chaotic universe that is fighting for the main plane of good fortune. Taoist Zishao's voice disappeared into the vastness along with the middle divine position stone tablet. Ning Cheng, Yemo, and the others also wrapped their stone tablets and quickly rushed to their respective territories. No one doubted Taoist Zishao's words. The universe of good fortune was definitely not like what they imagined. Perhaps, This was the place that truly belonged to the strong. End of book. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.